Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh and in this video we shall discuss the featured news for today, that is 16th of December 2021. Today's news is on semiconductor and display manufacturing ecosystem in our country. It has received a major boost. The government has proposed putting in 76,000 crore rupees. This is almost around $11 billion. The government has vouched to put this money so that there may be a semiconductor manufacturing industry, a fab industry in India, and a display unit industry in India, right? So display unit is what we are looking at, this complete display system. You are looking at your phones, right? Those phones or devices, they have display units, that industry, and a semiconductor manufacturing industry, something that we are talking of when we talk about white goods, gadgets, devices, cars, vehicles. So anywhere, industries, wherever we are using electronics, we are talking of that chip designing, integrated circuit designing, right? So government has said it will be participating in input cost of as much as 50% and 30% in specific costs, right? So 50% in the complete outlay for computer systems and other things, and 30% of some specific cost government will contribute if there are people who are ready to invest in semiconductor industry in India, right? So in this context, we will understand the complete ecosystem of semiconductor industry. We have studied quite a few editorials on this, gained some experience each of us. We will understand all that in totality and present a theme here on semiconductor industry in India. Hello Netra, hi Kriti, hi Anonymous, hi Amlan, hi Neha. Good evening Ashish. And then we have Mukesh, good evening to you as well. And other people who are not speaking, good evening to you all. It would be great if you also start conversing with us, right? So good evening Jyotish. Jyotish is writing already. Answer on this. Neha will start writing from today. Netra is doing something. Kriti is on just notes. Ashish is only procrastinating till now. It will be great if you start attempting the question in your mind or start just noting down what are the key issues, key advantages, or some of the way forward or some of the data. Just doing this much, how much time will it take after this conversation? After this debate that we have, it would take you hardly 1 or 2 minutes to do this. Just 1 or 2 minutes, but this churning and this processing in the mind, it will actually streamline your thoughts. This is my prime requirement, to streamline your thoughts. So that becomes very important. Hello Preeti, hi Abhishek, good evening to you. Hi Ravi, good evening. Thank you for speaking up. Mook darshak na bane. Right? You people are valuable. Your time is valuable. We will participate in conversations and we will grow ahead. Right? See, the moment you start typing, you start thinking also. This is the main agenda, that you start thinking immediately after the conversation. Take just 1 minute to write down these keywords, key points. How much time will it take you to go through the magazine once? This is required. This is really required. Right? So let's begin the conversation. See, semiconductor industry is indispensable. It is indispensable for the modern world. The semiconductor industry is the foundation for the digital world. When we talk of artificial intelligence, when we talk of Internet of Things, when we talk of industrial Internet of Things, when we talk of the digital economy growing, advancing, reaching stars and moon, covering the depths of earth, it is all done through digital means. And for digital economy, we need semiconductor industry. It lays the foundation for all the mechanical industry and also lays down the foundation for anything related to, distant communication. Semiconductor industry is indispensable. But it is very sad to know that India imports most of the products of semiconductor industry from abroad. And from one of the rival countries, China, we import. Not only India, the whole world is dependent on Chinese imports in that case. So we will understand what are the issues in this industry. First of all, we will also understand how India is trying to overcome these issues. So that is why this 77,000 crore rupees in news, right? So as we have shown this image to you beforehand, I would like to show this again, and you should be able to note down only the keywords, not the whole story. The whole story is for you to understand thoroughly what is the issue here. So this is chip designing happening, chip designing on computers. Indian scientists, Indian IT engineers, they are expert at it, but they are outsourced. If you remember brain drain that we spoke of yesterday, they do not do this in India. They go abroad. They are paid by the companies, Chinese companies and Japanese, Vietnamese and American companies, and they do it for them. So we have expertise, but we do not have an ecosystem. The next part comes is that of the fab designing. Fab, what is fab? Fabrication. Fabrication unit is what we are spending on right now. So this is the semiconductor base, the silicon aluminum base. This fab is also fabrication, it is also created. This is one of the industries in the complete value supply chain of semiconductor industry. Only after this base is created, ये थाली जब बन जाती है तब इसमें सब्जी लगाते हैं, सब्जी और रोटी चावल. Sabji, roti chawal are the integrated chips, right? Integrated circuits and all these semiconductor devices. So this is a very, very intricate job. At nano levels also it works. Nano and micro and pico levels it works. Very, very small levels. Not pico, but nano and micro levels definitely. So this intricate industry is very, very expensive. Very, very expensive. But fabrication designing is not as expensive. We can start with this. This is an industry on which, we lay down the chipsets in the technology labs, automated technology labs. So this is an expert thing to do. India will take a very, very long time to achieve sustainability here, self-reliance here, but India can definitely become a part of the value chain by creating the fab industry. So India has already declared a fab industry creation in India, and India has also spoken of display unit industry in India. So right now, Samsung, South Korean, Sony is Japanese, what all? LG, again South Korean, right? So all these companies are from South, East of Asia. This is the third part. The fourth part is its testing. Here is where testing is happening, and then packaging industry, and then there is a huge allied industry from the semiconductor industry, vehicle industry, white goods, mobile phones, so many things that we can link from industry sector. So you will be very, not very shocked, but you will be actually, the whole value chain is such that you will be very, it will be like a simple thing to understand that these industries are also China based or Southeast Asian based. We studied this in the Vietnam-India relations, that India imports digital goods from Vietnam. Why Vietnam? Because Vietnam is a part of the supply chain of the semiconductor industry. That is why India imports from Vietnam. India imports from Taiwan. Why Taiwan? Because all these countries, each of them have expertise in some or the other field, and the product moves from one country to the other, until the time it is ready to be sold. Sold where? Sold in India. The MG electric car, MG vehicles, right? Where is it? What company is it? It is a Chinese company. See, taking over the whole world. Apple getting manufactured in China, not America. Now, you should note that the ecosystem in India is not very good for manufacturing industry in India. The global supply chain do not have huge Indian agglomerates. Only Tata is ready to invest. Only Tata is ready to invest in the semiconductor manufacturing in India. The rest of the companies are not. We need some big companies, multinational companies, which can participate in some or the other capacity. India has started to give subsidy also. So this is why we should be able to focus on this. But what are the issues? Multiple issues. See, if we are importing more, this is import burden on us. This is one. Presently, India does not have a good supply of electricity also throughout the whole country. So supply of electricity is also an issue. Not only that, if you look at the semiconductor manufacturing supply ecosystem, if China is supplying these goods, right? If you remember, we had a conversation on this from the ORF article, Observer Research Foundation article, that India has the security vulnerability also. And that is the reason that we are using trusted sources. Do you remember this word? It was in the news few months back, and just few days back we also discussed. India refused to accept Chinese goods in 5G electronic communication products. Chinese goods refused because India says these are not trusted products. Why? Because if we are using 5G equipments, Chinese equipments in 5G, they have the encryption technology and they also have the decryption technology. They will be able to embed some kind of electronics which will ensure that they know everything that we are doing here. So India said we will not, import from untrusted sources. So, but which are the developed economies here? China is, USA is. So this is where we see there are many companies which are investing in USA. Samsung has invested in Texas. One of the largest places where it has invested is Texas for creation of a semiconductor industry. Did not invest in India. The point being, India is completely getting excluded out of this industry. India is only the consumer industry. बेवकूफ बन रहे हैं हम लोग. है ना, देख रहे हो ना. So there are multiple issues, and that is why the government take some money. It is public money, but it is going to be used for welfare of the people. Let us do that. So the agenda is clear. Government wants to participate. Government wants the private sector to participate. Government will not be doing things by itself. So this is the main contention. Security implications, electricity implications, implications in import, and then we are dependent on them. And that is the reason that Quad also initiated a value supply chain. Remember this? You wouldn't. Why would you? We have discussed this. You would have forgotten it. I have shared in the video already that 70-80% of that we go through every day, we forget within 24 hours. You would have forgotten. So Quad has also initiated a value chain, a supply chain resilience initiative, which will not be dependent on a country like China. Why are we dependent on China only? Not on Japan and not on South Korea? Because China has the current capacity of delivering more than 90% of the rare earth minerals. And these rare earth minerals are utilized: germanium, silicon, aluminium. They are all utilized in creation of semiconductor fab and the chips. That is why China. Not that these semiconductors, this rare earth minerals are not available in India, USA. They are available in earth beds also. They are available in ocean beds and various other places, but currently not capitalizable, not utilizable. China is able to exploit them right now, harness them. That is the reason that government said 50% of fiscal support we will give on pari passu basis. That means on equitable basis to everybody, right? It also said that 30% of the capital expenditure also it will meet. 30% of the capital expenditure of the company. Why is it spending so much? Because it wants to become a part of this value supply chain. Otherwise, if we are imagining to become a country which is a part of the digital consumer base, we must build this kind of participation through India also, right? So then we have Abhishek Singh saying, okay, I'm late, sir. No worries. Netra Suryavan Sneha saying, who are we? Yes, who are we? And then Amlan says, then why ISRO ties up with Oppo? I will investigate on this and I will get back. What's the thing about Oppo, right? So currently China, if you look at the Chinese space missions also, Chinese space missions are not allied with the Indian space missions. And Chinese space missions are not allied with International Space Center also. China is not the country which is funding them, right? Japan is, European Union is, and America is, UK is, but China is not. China is building its own system. Similarly, there are various other value supply chains where China is completely excluded itself, right? And building its own economic base. We will give many examples of this. See? So right now, getting back to the topic. So India has this India is going to initiate India Semiconductor Mission, right? In which it wants its public sector to participate along with private sector, right? So the public sector is Semiconductor Lab. They are doing whatever research they can do, but they are not efficient. We do not have sufficient manpower in India. And through this scheme, we are doing two things. We are not only investing in this project so that semiconductor base increases, we are also investing in skill development of people, skill development. One of these hubs, the semiconductor hubs, it might even cost $10 billion and rightly 70,000 crore rupees. That is why the government is spending just this much and the private sector will be spending equally at least, and then we will have huge sum. So $10 billion for even establishing one setup. This is the kind of expenses we are talking about. Very, very expensive. And that is why it is very tough to enter this value chain. India has got this nudge at the right time. Why? Because the whole supply chain around the world, it is after China, against China, and therefore India can actually become a part of the supply chain if the brain drain does not happen, right? So why do semiconductors matter? When we look at 5G technologies, artificial intelligence, this is important. For geopolitics also, why are we not relating to those countries which are in India's favor? We have to depend on China itself, right? So importing these gadgets, devices, equipments from China. And lately you must have known that many of these companies, these auto companies, they have reduced down the components, electronic components in their vehicles just because they are not getting the semiconductor enough for manufacturing. Many of the industries had to shut down the 24-hour working schedule because of this. Not only Indian companies, European companies also, all dependent on China. So when we look at India's economy trying to become a $5 trillion economy, or having a digital base of $1 billion, digital base of $1 trillion, we need to have a semiconductor base in India also. Not a complete industry, but a participative industry, right? We have a huge domestic market, right, which is still not utilized completely. A lot of poor people, but yes, slowly and steadily they will also become potent someday, and there will be increased demand, right? Now, did we ever imagine that everybody in home will own a phone? I had not imagined. I am elder to most of you. I had not imagined this. And now, not only phone, people are owning these smartphones. And slowly and steadily, we will all start owning Apples also, because these kind of phones, they exist in America and Europe. Many people are the users of those phones only. We will not be into Oppo and Vivo anymore. Right? Just an example I am saying. We are dependent on imports. See, around $50 billion is what we import for electronics only, electronic components. And we have a limited presence in India for assembly and testing. We have designing presence in India, but only the the brain, but not the physical presence. So the challenges are cost disabilities. The cost of setting up a huge industry is very, very huge in India. Power cost is also relatively high. Power cuts are high. These are the issues here. Insufficient labor skills we do not have. And this is not the traditional labor we are talking of. No? This is highly skilled labor. And this gap does persist in a country like India. We are trying to create a labor base, and a skilled labor base of more than 1 lakh, right? Creating employment in this new sector, right? Inadequate focus on research and development promotion. Now see, I told you one stats on this, less than 1%, 0.67% of the GDP on investment. This is what India spends. Compare it with China, 3 times, 2.2% of GDP. Compare it with USA, Israel and South Korea. You will find the answer. So please remember this, no? Please, it's a request. Please. Okay. Okay. Then we have weaker intellectual property rights regime also. Intellectual property, setting it up. There is a whole process of gaining the intellectual property rights for a person. So how to apply for it, and what is the procedure, what is the cost for it? There can be subsidies on that also. India does not have a proper regime for that. These are the issues here. Lack of developed manufacturing ecosystem. We do not have a developed manufacturing ecosystem. That is the reason that Samsung did not invest in India. It invested in USA, right? Intel has one of the largest research bases in America, but Intel would not invest. See, Intel, Microsoft, Facebook, all of them would invest. Apple would invest in the human brain capacity, IT here, but not in the manufacturing base. If you were there in the second video, the current affairs video that we discussed, what are we trying to do in Make in India? We are not only trying to make these entities, make these gadgets and devices in India, we are also trying to indigenize the technology. Not only that German company should make in India, but that we should be able to know the know-how of it, right? Make in India. So we are trying to increase the percentage of manufacturing, to 25% of GDP. We are trying, but we are not able to do that. There is less incentive here in India. There is more incentive for IT. There is less for manufacturing, right? See, so these are the issues. And another issue is the WTO. See. Now, Taiwan, another friendly nation, not nation, but yes, quasi-nation, and India supports that country. India imports semiconductor devices from Taiwan. India wants to do good partnership with Taiwan, but India is imposing huge tariff on Taiwan itself when we want to import semiconductor devices from them. So this is a WTO issue. They are discussing this, and this is what is called as inverted duty structure. Inverted duty structure. When the import cost is high, and after that you are giving subsidy inside India so that the entity is created. So the first duty itself is high, and then you are giving subsidies to the country, to the people, so that they can create the product in India. Eventually they are paying for this cost also now. So this is called as import duty structure. This should be avoided. So the policies are not very streamlined in our country. They are only getting streamlined with time, right? What is India doing then? Atmanirbhar Bharat, put that up, right? In new era in electronics manufacturing, technological leadership. Well, only this is what you have to mention. But yes, we are not doing very well. If you read, you will find out about it. If you can find out through my face as well. So what are we trying to do is give capital support in technological collaborations. This is what we are trying in our country, right? But MNCs are not supportive of this because they do not find profit right now. This is an industry, this is like hathi. You have one and then you have to feed them tons and tons of food every day. But yes, it will lead to results. It will take a while. It will have a period of incubation. It will have a period of gestation. So this is what it requires. It requires a long time partnership. And that is why government is ready to spend 77,000 crore rupees in the coming few years, right? So this will add to higher domestic value chains. Remember, we have a huge demand, we have a huge consumer base, and that is what demands setting up of this industry in India, right? So this is the key for it. And what is the requirement? A few data that you remembered. Along with that, trying to make a digital economy of US $1 trillion and US $5 trillion GDP by 2025. This is an important part of it. So let us quickly understand, what did we understand through this complete conversation? So when we put semiconductor industry at the base, we understood the whole chain, the value chain of semiconductor industry, the whole value chain. We understood the position of India. We are almost nowhere, but yes, Indians are somewhere, right? We understood the participation of government now, the participation of multinational companies of India's, if they are interested or not. We also understood what are the issues that India has. So right from, having a place where it could set up this industry, to electricity issue, to subsidy issue, to be able to have technological manpower, all these are the issues. What are the opportunities? The opportunity is the COVID time, the time when countries are trying to align their forces, build capacity and technology. The opportunity is the huge consumer base. The opportunity is the Make in India scheme and production in India, right? So these are the opportunities. And what are the schemes that the government is providing? So this is how we can cover the semiconductor industry in our country, its development, right? So if a question like this is asked to you, will you be able to answer? The question says, the program for development of semiconductor and display manufacturing ecosystem in India will propel innovation and build domestic capacities to ensure the digital sovereignty of India. Absolutely, digital sovereignty. When we talk of sovereignty and having security, semiconductor security is another one, right? Discuss with specific reference to challenges of semiconductor industries in India. See, discuss with specific reference to the challenges. So we have to serve the first part of the statement as well. What is the first part? Providing the digital sovereignty of the country. Address this part. What is the need for digital sovereignty in India? The defense equipments are electronic in nature, biotechnology is automated, space technology is automated. We are trying to automate other processes also. We need digital sovereignty. There's a huge population demanding digitization of everything, e-governance, right? So this is what is required, and therefore now we will discuss the challenges of the semiconductor industry in India. So point down 5, 6, 7 challenges. You need not write the whole answer, just tell me the keywords and give an example. Keyword, example, and then you conclude saying that yes, we want to do this, right? $5 trillion economy or $1 trillion digital economy. This is what is required. So build the frame in your head or provide the issues and positives and some data points and what conclusion should be. This is what should be your notes. Just 5 issues, 5 key points with examples, and your semiconductor industry is done. This conversation was to explain, the whole conversation of 20 minutes is to explain you what is the issue. But what you have to write is not all this. What you have to write is just these key points. So I am focusing all the time that while you are spending time with me, you have to focus on these points and understanding and asking questions and talking, right? So Amlan says, ISRO and OPPO together will develop Navik messaging services. All right. Interesting to know, right? Sam says, Malaysia may cut chip production. Many countries are cutting this chip production, right? So this is the conversation for today. If you like this initiative, if you like our effort, do share some love on us through likes, comments, and share some love on us through meeting us again in tomorrow's video for current affairs and then feature news, right? These small scoldings and conversations, yes, this is required so that you are pushed to start answer writing, to start making notes. I have made that video already on current affairs, how to prepare notes, and if you should start this right now. It is high time you should start, because every day you lag, every day I lag, we will lose out on that information for sure. So participate through that as well. 30 minutes of extra work and it will show the result. Just 1 month of that effort, and you will start seeing that revision of only that a couple of times, you will start using that language, right? So thank you everybody for being a part. I appreciate your participation, and share some love on us. So good evening and good night to Netra, Preeti, Amlan, Jyotish, Kriti, all of you. Thank you and welcome for participation. I will see you all tomorrow evening.